WWE Elimination Chamber took place tonight in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania from the Wells Fargo Center. And to sum up the show quickly before I get into my review, it started off really good. You had some really good matches, and it just fell off a cliff, and it was a brutal crash. So to go to the pre-show, this is where it all started. You had the same old panel, same people you see. You have Renee Young, who does well. You have Charlie Caruso on interviews, along with Sarah Screeber and Kayla Braxton. You had Ruby Riott join the panel, which I thought she did well, even though she was wasted tonight, just literally wasted. She was horribly, but she did well on the panel. And you just had various interviews with the women, and this is actually International Women's Day, so I guess that's why they decided to go with the main event. And a little known fact, I don't know if people have really reported this, the same arena that had the first ever Women's Royal Rumble, which was the main event, has the third Women's Elimination Chamber, which is also the main event. So they've had three of each. They've had three Women's Rumbles and three Women's Chambers, but only once has either of them been the actual main event of the show. In 2018, the Rumble was the main event in Philadelphia in the same arena. 2 years later, the third Women's Chamber is the main event for the first time in the Wells Fargo Center in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. And also, happy International Women's Day. You're going to need that because the main event was horrendous, but we'll get there. So, moving on to the pre-show, you had various interviews. You had Kayla Braxton interview someone. You had Sarah Screeber interview Andrade and Zelina Vega, and I thought Zelina Vega did really good on that promo. She was great. You also had some meaningless match. The War Raiders destroyed Zack, Ryder, and Curt Hawkins. You just had to do some stupid Raw match or something because they didn't have anything booked because they were lazy the way they set everything up. Eventually, the show starts. You have a good video package, and we started off really hot. The show was really good, the way it started. You had Daniel Bryan and Drew Gulak open the match, and at first I was thinking to myself, oh, this is like a Sunday Night Heat match. They literally announced this match 48 hours ago. However, it ended up being a damn good match, and it blew me away. I was not expecting it. I don't think the fans were really going to expect this kind of a match to be this good. It was very creative, and it shows how Bryan Danielson, Daniel Bryan, one of the best wrestlers in the world still. And when he's in there with someone who he believes in, who he wants to get over, magic happens. Daniel Bryan's great. I'm surprised how good this was. He made Drew Gulak look like a star here. And this is going to do a lot for Gulak's career, I assume. Maybe not, but it definitely, this is the best he's ever looked on the main roster. Daniel Bryan, just incredible. It was such a creative match. And I love how they sell Bryan's neck as the big target for Gulak. There was numerous variations in which Bryan would take big shots to his neck. There was almost there was a cool spot where head scissors, in which Gulak had Daniel Bryan in the head scissors. He does this mini pile driver into head scissors, which look painful as hell. They're selling Bryan's neck heavily. Gulak's going after him. He just does this painful looking back suplex, which looked like it could snap his neck. And then you had the worst German suplex of all time. Brock Lesnar cannot do a German suplex this scary. Gulak throws Daniel Bryan. It's like a released German suplex, so Daniel Bryan falls on the back of his head. It looked like it snapped. This was something you wouldn't see from Brock this dangerous. It looked horrible. But Bryan was able just to sell it so well, and his selling in this match is insane. I'm just blown away of how good Daniel Bryan still is. He's a great wrestler. He needs to be at the top of the card again. This guy's insane. Eventually, Daniel Bryan makes a comeback. He survives a long count out outside. He gets back at 9. He's able to fight back. But he's still in this match. Gulak dominates 90% of the match, but Bryan's able to get back. He gets a yes lock. It's not in all the way, so what happens is he's able to invert it into a choke, and he just chokes out Drew Gulak. We saw a lot of chokeouts tonight, but Drew Gulak eventually just passes out. Daniel Bryan wins. He doesn't even submit him, but he's able to just choke him out. He gets it, and I think Daniel Bryan really sees something in Drew Gulak. That's why he went all the way for this guy to get him over, and this was just really, really well done. A hell of an opening match, and Daniel Bryan with the win. Crowd loved him, and he gets a big win here, and I thought Gulak had a great showing. We go backstage. Kayla Braxton interviews Dolph Ziggler and Bobby Roode, and they do this glitch in the TV screen behind them, and I think that's Killer Cross. That's what I think it is. It could be someone else. Could be maybe, I don't know, Jeff Hardy, I think, maybe. But I think it's Killer Cross. Anyway, she interviews Ziggler and Roode, and Roode talks wild, and Ziggler makes fun of Otis. Next, you have Andrade against Humberto Carrillo for the U.S. title. Andrade defends his title. He comes out with Zelina Vega, who looks amazing, by the way. Just keep the camera on Zelina Vega all times ever Andrade is there. I don't care. I'd like to see a reaction. Just keep it on her, please. Anyway, this is the kind of match I didn't want to see. Like, I've seen this a million times on Raw. I've seen this match a million times on Raw. I don't want to see this anymore. Why am I seeing this on a pay-per-view? On a pay-per-view, it's like 4 weeks away from WrestleMania. Why do I have to have a Raw match? Well, they had a damn good match, that's why. They've always had good matches on Raw, but this was one of their best ones. I thought this was great. I really, really enjoyed it. Maybe not great, I'll take that back. It was very good. It was a very good match. Crowd was into it. There was an amazing spot by Humberto Carrillo in which he does a super Frankensteiner to Andrade, which looked insane. He's really getting over here. The fans are into it. And man, it feels like Humberto's going to be a star. I thought, I picked Andrade to win, but what I was thinking was going to happen was, I was almost thinking Humberto could win, but then lose it to Angel Garza, who's going to be the new heel, top heel with Zelina, and Andrade just gets pushed aside. But they had Andrade win. We'll see what happens with Angel Garza. I got really excited near the end when you have cool roll-up reversals. Andrade's eventually able to pin down Humberto when he pulls the tights and gets the win. Really enjoyed the match. Really enjoyed looking at Zelina Vega more than the match, but the match was still really good and had a very entertaining match, especially for a match we see so much on Raw. I enjoyed it. Go backstage, we see Charlie Caruso interview AJ Styles. This was all right. Styles mentions Undertaker. Then we go to the match of the night, hands down, tag team Elimination Chamber match. I said this would be the best match, and it was without question, not even close. By far the best match on the whole show. You have the champions, John Morrison and The Miz, defending their tails against the Usos, the New Day, Heavy Machinery, Dolph Ziggler and Bobby Roode in the Lucha House Party. And the storyline of Dolph Ziggler and Otis was overshadowed the whole match, and particularly overshadowed the climax of the match. But in the pods, you have Heavy Machinery, you have the champs Miz and Morrison, you have Roode and Ziggler, who came out last, and you have the Lucha House Party. Starting the match was the Usos and New Day, which is the best decision to start. They start off really slow, just a lot of slow stuff. They're pacing themselves. They're obviously going to go harder than they needed to just pace themselves quickly here to preserve energy. Lucha House Party enters. I thought they'd be quick, but they actually did really well here. They had a great showing. At first it's a bit slow, but then all of a sudden it explodes. You see two big dives off the pods by the Lucha House Party, which looked great. And of course later, I think you also had a super Frankensteiner by one of the Lucha House Parties again. Then of course Miz and Morrison enter. And it gets slow. I thought this was okay here, just kind of boring. They dominate. They have near falls, multiple near falls here. Everyone's kicking out. I'm thinking to myself, something big's gonna happen, but you get another dive by one of the guys. I think it was one of the Lucha House Party, Lindsay Dorado or Grand Metalik. And then Heavy Machinery enters, and this is the best part. So they go Ramshaw. Otis wants Ziggler. He wants to beat him up. Tucker climbs up the pod and hits Ziggler over the glass. And then Tucker does a senton onto everyone, taking everyone out. That was awesome. Or sorry, no, they enter. I got that mistake. They didn't enter until Roode and Ziggler didn't come out later. Sorry. Before they enter, there's a huge spot in which there's a giant shooting star press by Lindsay Dorado onto everyone from the top of the chamber. It looked insane. He was able to climb, and the camera missed him. The intensity didn't show him, but he climbs to the top and he does a shooting star press, taking everyone out. However, Otis he eliminates Grand Metalik after him and Tucker hit their finisher on him, and Grand Metalik gets out, so Lucha House Party is eliminated by Heavy Machinery. Then Roode and Ziggler enters, and Otis wants to kill Tucker. That's what the match is built around. Tucker, he's able to get Ziggler on top of a pod, throw him down. He does a senton off the pod. Then, however, Otis, he's able to fight off Roode again, and there fights off a double team, and he goes to get his revenge on Dolph Ziggler by running him into a pod. However, once he runs into Ziggler's able to move out of the way, and Otis goes through the pod. He runs through the fake glass in the pod, and he slams into the ground. He destroys the pod and hits the ground hard. He's out. He's dead. Otis is done. He is gone. He is out cold. Tucker's shocked. Roode and Ziggler double team Tucker, then they hit the DDT, and Tucker is eliminated. And Dolph Ziggler and Bobby Roode eliminate Heavy Machinery. Horrible heel heat. However, quickly, Usos, once Roode and Ziggler are taunting Heavy Machinery, Usos quickly eliminate Roode and Ziggler. New Day teams up with them, and then the Usos do the double dive from the pod. The pods are a lot shorter now, but they do the double dive, and they take out Miz and Morrison. Miz and Morrison then face off with the New Day and the Usos. And I thought the match went down. I thought it peaked in the middle. I thought it went down here. It was okay for a while. Miz and Morrison, the New Day, Kofi goes for a big dive from the top. However, he misses one of the Usos, and then Miz and Morrison pin him. And then the New Day and Miz, and this is where I thought the ending was okay. I didn't think it was very good. The last spot was not that good. The Miz and Morrison, when they eliminate the Usos, and they had a very good matchup. I would even call it great, but I thought it peaked in the middle with the Otis stuff. I thought it went downhill near the end, but I still thought this was very entertaining and a hell of a matchup here. Miz and Morrison retain as expected, and I guess we'll see what they go out with WrestleMania, but I think certainly in that division, the Otis storyline with Mandy and Dolph is clearly the biggest storyline that's going to overshadow the tag team titles. They go backstage. Charlie Caruso interviews Natalya, and she's mad about what happens to Beth. It's clearly obvious they're going with Natty and Beth to take on the Kabuki Warriors. Aleister Black against AJ Styles in a disqualification match. Undertaker was coming out, and the fans are dead for the first half of this because it's really hard to follow that chamber match. AJ uses a kendo stick for a while. That's the weapon he uses at first. At first, it's just a regular match, and he brings out a kendo stick. A table is set up on the outside by Aleister Black. AJ Styles brings a chair in the ring. He uses a chair on Aleister, hits him with the chair in the thigh, and sets it up in the corner. AJ getting a lot of offense and really dominating, so it makes you think he's probably going to win. He's able to get a calf crusher goes on for a while. Black uses a kendo stick to get out. There was a good chair spot by Black into AJ, I believe, who goes hard into the chair on the ring post. They fit on the outside. They fight on the announce table. AJ throws him there. However, Black fights back, and what he does is Black jumps from the announce table onto AJ Styles with a double knee drop through a table, which looked insane. Looked really good. He's about to put AJ away. Black as an OC gets involved, and all of a sudden the Undertaker's gong goes off. Fans go crazy. Undertaker basically has what's her name? Gallows and Anderson in a position which he's choking them both out with his bare hands. And then all of a sudden AJ tries to get involved. He gets a choke slam. AJ's out. He's able to get back to his feet, but Aleister does as well. He gets hit with the Black Mask. 1, 2, 3. Aleister Black defeats AJ Styles with an assist to the Undertaker. And the way I'm thinking this is how it's going to go. It could go two ways. It could go a handicap match, Undertaker and Aleister Black against the OC, or Undertaker AJ Styles. But I think AJ needs to be Undertaker. Undertaker's gone the best of him 2 times in a row. He crushed him, squashed him in Saudi Arabia, and he cost him the match at Chamber. I think AJ needs to win it, but there's no way he's going to beat the Undertaker at WrestleMania. No, not going to happen. Or they could go the other route, which is the handicap match, which I prefer they do. Next, you have the Raw Tag Team titles. This is the bathroom break match. No one cares about this. It's a Seth Rollins match, so what do you expect? Seth and Buddy Murphy challenge the Street Profits to regain their titles, but we know the Street Profits are going to win. Again, it feels like a Raw match. It's a Raw match on a pay-per-view, basically. Crowd is dead. It's a bathroom break match. Nothing happens for a while. We have the War Raiders fight the AOP, who are on the ringside, so they both take themselves out. And the match gets really slow. Then it starts to get interesting. They're doing well. KO comes down from the crowd eating a bag of popcorn. Of course, he's fat. And he arrives there, and that's where the match takes a turn, and Seth is mad. He's yelling at him. KO throws popcorn at Seth, and one of the kernels gets stuck in Seth's hair, which is pretty damn funny. Seth is freaking go, and he gets taken out by the Street Profits, and then they destroy Buddy Murphy, almost kill him. They take him in the ring. They hit at their finisher. Montez Ford pins Buddy Murphy. 1, 2, 3, and still your Raw Tag Team Champions, the Street Profits. After the match, Seth Rollins has been humiliated. He's KO still eating popcorn. He stuns Seth Rollins in the ring and officially sets up. We haven't announced it, but it's obviously going to set up Kevin Owens against Seth Rollins at WrestleMania. Next, they announced a new FCW documentary that's going to immediately air on the WWE Network following the show. That'll be good. Next, we go to a handicap match. And this is where the cliff happened. This is where it starts to fall off the cliff. Handicap match, I was thinking to myself, hopefully this is quick. They had Kayla Braxton interview Sami Zayn before the match, and I just think this guy looks like absolute shit. Please fire him. Kevin Nash was right on SmackDown when he called him someone like Seth Rogen, who's had diarrhea for a while. That's exactly what Sami Zayn looked like, a skinny Seth Rogen. He looks awful. Oh, this match was bullshit. Strowman got bitched out. They made Braun Strowman look like a bitch. He got his ass kicked for 90% of the match. He barely makes a comeback. He can't run. That's a bad thing. Strowman can't move. He cannot run. He looked awful. They hit their finishers. He keeps trying to fight, but he not much. They throw him into the steps. And Nakamura hits the Kinshasa choice. And then they set him up, and they set him up in the double suplex for the haluva kick. Sami Zayn pins Braun Strowman, 1, 2, 3, practically clean. And this is absolute bullshit. Braun Strowman looks like a joke. This fucking sucked. This was an awful match. It was a piece of shit. Just angers everyone. Sami Zayn's the Intercontinental Champ. It was fucking trash. It was a horrible match. It was horrendous. It's fucking bullshit. I fucking hated this. I'm fucking mad. I'm angry. It's bullshit. Bullshit match. Absolutely horrendous. Oh, I hated the match so much. I'll be honest. You know why I was mad? It ruined the contest prediction for me. I needed, I need confidence points for a match, and I had 6 points in this match. It fucked it up for me. I thought this was the lock. This was one of the locks. This was the second biggest lock to me on the show, behind Shayna Baszler, Strowman winning. I know he was a big favorite in the odds, so I never look at odds before shows, but I saw it like, geez, the guy was a huge odds favorite. I guess this was something Vince changes his mind. You can never trust Vince, but why, Vince? Why would you fucking do this to Braun? It was a fucking disaster. Oh, ruined my prediction. I'm mad. Just fuck, man. It's awful. Oh, then we get to one of the worst main events in WWE history. Maybe the worst. I think we can say this could have been the worst main event of all time. I can't think of one. I'm sure it's been a worse match. Maybe, I don't know. But this is up there. So it's a big thing. The first ever time the women have main events in an Elimination Chamber show with the Chamber match. Not the first Chamber. It's the third official Chamber match, and by far the worst. The last two Women's Chambers matches were good. In 2018, that match was really good. I remember which was came down to Alexa and Sasha and Bayley, I believe. That was a really good match. People forget. I liked that a lot. The next year, the women's tag match when Sasha and Bayley won, that was really, really good too. A lot of people forget how good that was. That was a damn good opener. This was a pile of shit. I mean, I said that, this is the same arena in which they had the first ever Women's Royal Rumble match, and it main evented. This same arena, the third official Women's Elimination Chamber match, it's not the first, but it's the first main event of a Women's Chamber. That's the big deal. Oh, it was horrible. This was so bad. This was such a bad match. Anyway, you have them just trying to book Shayna Baszler like a monster, and I hope Vince loses his faith in her because she sucks. She's not going to go anywhere. She's going to beat Becky, and it's just going to be awful. It's like, she's a ratings killer. No one wants to watch her. Anyway, you have Shayna in one of the pods. You have Sarah Logan, Liv Morgan, and Asuka in the 4 pods, and you start the match off with Ruby Riott and Natalya, who came out last. It was like, the way they're building it up, thinking Natalya's going to make it to the last and she's going to lose to Shayna in the valiant effort. Was I wrong? So anyway, Ruby and Natalya started off. They show Becky Lynch watching on a monitor, and they see her like a couple times watching on a monitor. That's all you'd see from Becky. Sarah Logan enters next. No one cares. Natalya's a crowd killer. No one cares. Boring. Nothing happens. They throw each other in the steps. The crowd's dead. Shayna Baszler enters. And it sucks. She just kills Sarah Logan like she's nothing. I know Sarah Logan's not a starter, but okay, fine. Sarah Logan's not a big deal. Then when she did it to Ruby, it got me mad. Because they were pushing Ruby so hard. I thought Ruby, around this time last year, I thought she's going to be the champion. She's that good. They really have something in Ruby Riott. And wow, they ruined Ruby so bad. That's such a shame what they did to Ruby. Made her look like nothing. So no Riott Squad reunion. I was thinking to myself, the Riott Squad, I liked them a lot. I always thought they were so good together. They need each other. I'm sure they all want to be reunited. And to them, I know they're all close, so they get to travel with each other still, so it's not a huge deal. But they probably want to be reunited, and they need to because they were a fun team. I always liked the Riott Squad. I liked Ruby Riott. I liked Liv Morgan. I liked Sarah Logan. I was never a huge fan of them individually in NXT, but they were just really good as a unit. And they should have done some cool Riott Squad reunion in which they take over the match, not happening. Sarah Logan and Ruby Riott look like they're nothing. Shayna then destroys Natalya. She hits her with the chamber door, the pod door. She chokes her out. She kills her best friend. This is awful. Then it's just Shayna standing around for 5 minutes. She stands around for 5 minutes yelling at Liv Morgan and Asuka. She just yells at both of them. It's the worst match you'd ever see. Liv Morgan comes. She gets some offense. Shayna just murders Liv. There's a scene in which Shayna has her in a powerbomb position. She powerbombs her into the chains. Then Liv is down, and Shayna whiplashes her head into the pod, which was just painful. I hated it. It looked awful. Wished Liv wouldn't have to almost die for a match. It's just bad. It's just awful. Then she puts her in front of Asuka, and she chokes her out on the ropes. And it looked so bad because she didn't even have it in. It looked horrendous. This just sucks. And then she stands around. Asuka's yelling in Japanese. She must have used every swear word in Japanese. She did it for like 3 times in this match. All it was is Asuka yelling in Japanese. I didn't have nightmares about this match. Asuka comes, and Asuka gets offense on Shayna. It's not a complete squash, but it's pretty much a dominant win for Shayna. She makes Asuka look like she's nothing. I was thinking, they're going to give Asuka something, and she does, but it's not much. She tries to get the Asuka lock, looks awful. Shayna's very sloppy. Shayna sucks. She's awful in the ring. Shitty match. Eventually, Baszler chokes out Asuka, puts her away, and Baszler wins. Hopefully, Vince loses all faith in her because this was a fucking shit show. It's not all her fault the way it was booked, but why not just have the tag team match go on last? I don't know why they had to put this on last. This is a horrible main event. One of the worst main events in WWE history. They made the worst women's match they've ever had. I'm sure there's been worse women's matches, but they'll never have a women's main event this bad. And this is another time. Baszler matches are dull. The Survivor Series match with Becky and Charlotte in the main event was a dull main event. It was just a boring match. Reminded me exactly of Becky, Charlotte, and Ronda at Mania, which was a boring match, last year's Mania. And then she has a horrendous match here, one of the worst matches. She had a boring match with Kairi Sane on Raw this past week. And then she's probably going to have a boring match against Becky Lynch at WrestleMania. I'm going to tell you why the match is going to fail. It's going to surprise you. Let's hear me out. Okay. You have a WrestleMania crowd, 7 hours. It's going to go late in the show. It's not going to main event, no way. I think Brock and Drew's got that, but it'll go late in the show, maybe second, third to last, something around that in that time frame, I assume. Shayna's style's very boring. It's going to be a boring match. The crowd's going to be drained. There's going to be a great opening or great mid-card match, which they go crazy for. They're going to be drained, and no one's going to care. It's going to be a horrible match. Shayna's going to win, and no one's going to be happy. It's just going to be a forgettable match. Everything they did with Becky is going to be gone. And because they're push this chick and they don't know what they're doing. She's just awful, man. Just not working. It's just such a bad match. Oh, man, this sucked. This match sucked. So the show was, here's what you had on the card. Let's recap the card. Daniel Bryan and Drew Gulak, really good. Andrade and Humberto Carrillo, really good. Elimination Chamber tag team match, the first one, great match, really liked it. AJ Styles, Aleister Black, that was okay. That went way too long though. Street Profits and it's Bronze Murphy, it was all right. It was kind of a raw match. Handicap match sucked, and the main event sucked. It was not a good show anymore. They started off really good, and it fell off a cliff. And oh man, what a horrible main event! Horrible main event, really, really bad. So. Yeah, the show didn't work near the end. It started off really well, but it really fell off a cliff. So that recaps Elimination Chamber. The road to WrestleMania continues. We are at 4 weeks away now for Mania. They can still save it. But, man, this was not a good show. Elimination Chamber, it started off really, really hot, and it fell off a cliff, and boy, did it crash and burn. So that recaps my video. No more paid reviews until WrestleMania. The road to WrestleMania is officially... We can't go to the fast lane this time. No fast lane, thank God. But we're really getting closer to Mania. So this is going to be real Mania season. No more paid reviews to build up. They have no more distractions. full head-on WrestleMania for 4 weeks. Road to WrestleMania. We're underway. We're going to be there. We're going to be in Tampa before you know it. Hopefully we get a good show. And they have a lot to build up to, but man, this was a horrible main event. It was on a horrible show, but man, that main event was really bad. So Chamber, man, just a really, really bad main event. Did I say we have a bad main event enough times? I think you get the point. So that recaps it, and see you for my review on Raw tomorrow night.